Hello guys. So in this session, we are going to learn how to install ArgoCD on Minikube with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So let's start to install ArgoCD on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So first of all, we need these prerequisites. Okay. So let's understand the prerequisites. So first of all, we need to install Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, or we need an instance. Then we need a sudo user with admin privilege. We need 2 GB RAM or more. Then we need 2 CPU or vCPU or more. Okay. Then we need a 20 GB free hard disk space or more. Okay. So that's the important prerequisite. We need a 20 GB free hard disk space or more. If you have any error, then you need to modify your hard disk space. Okay. So that's why here I'm going to repeat that we need a 20 GB free hard disk space, and we need a 2 GB RAM, and we need a 2 CPU. That is the main prerequisites. Okay. Then after that, we need a Docker. Okay. Or then it's optional virtual machine manager, KVM, or VirtualBox. Okay. Then after that, we need a stable internet connection. So let's start. So first of all, we need to install Minikube on this Ubuntu. So to install Minikube, we need this sudo apt. We need this update our system package. Okay. So first of all, as you can see, this is my instance ArgoCD, and as you can see, instance type is t2.medium. Okay, and here I have 20 GB. Okay, as you can see the details, and I have 20 20 GB hard disk space. Okay. So let's start to install Minikube. So first of all, we need to update the system package. So let's start. So as you can see, I have successfully connect to my instance. You can see Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So let's install Minikube. So first of all, let's update our system package. So here is the command to update my system package. Okay, it's almost done. After that, we need to run the following to install Minikube dependencies. So to install dependencies, we need to run this command. So it's done. Let's clear the screen first. Now, after that, we need to install Docker on Ubuntu. So how to install? So the command is sudo apt install docker io. So yes, I want to install. Okay, it's done. After successfully install Docker, we need to configure to run Docker without sudo permission. So we need to give 2 permissions to our Docker. So the permissions are following for. So I'm going to enter second command. Okay, it's done. So now we have successfully installed Docker. Now the next step is we need to check whether here virtualization support is enabled or not on your machine. Okay, so let's check. Okay, then let's clear the screen. Then after that, now let's install the KVM and other tools on this. Okay, so we need to install KVM and Docker also. So I'm going to install KVM. Our Docker successfully installed. Now we are going to install KVM. So it takes few seconds to install. So as you can see, it's installing KVM. Okay. So it's almost done, right? Yeah, it's done, right? Okay. Now let me clear screen first. Okay. Now after that, we need to download the latest Minikube binary setup. Okay, so here I'm going to download using curl command. Okay, so let's download the Minikube setup, latest Minikube setup. Okay, so if you want to install latest version, then you can go to the Minikube official download page and you can download from there. Okay, then after that, you need to run the following to install Minikube dependencies. Okay, so let's run this command. Okay, then after that, install Minikube. So now it's time to install Minikube on this particular location. So I'm going to install Minikube using this command. Okay, now after that, let's check the Minikube version. That means let's check the details of our Minikube that installed or not. So as you can see, the Minikube version and commit. Okay, that means we have successfully installed Minikube on this Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. Okay, it's done. Now it's time to move second step. Now the second step is install kubectl on Minikube. Okay, so here kubectl is a command line utility which is used to interact with Kubernetes cluster and it is used for managing deployments, service and pods, etc. So we need to download kubectl binary setup on Minikube. So here I'm going to download the kubectl binary using curl command. Okay, it's done. Now after that, we need to set the executable permission on this kubectl binary. So let's run these two commands to give permissions. And the second one is here. Okay, it's done. Okay. Then after that, if you want to check the details of your Minikube, sorry, your kubectl, then you can check the details of this kubectl. You can see client version, then build date, compiler, git commit, and so on. Okay. So it's done. We have successfully installed kubectl also. Okay. Then now here, as you can see, we need to start Minikube on Ubuntu. Okay. So start the Minikube with the Docker driver and run. And there are several driver options that we can use start a Minikube cluster. Okay. Like virtual, Docker, and so on. So here we are going to use Docker to start Minikube. Okay. So let's start Minikube using Docker. So it takes few seconds to start Minikube. So wait for few seconds. So as you can see, we are going to start our Minikube. Sorry, start our Minikube base. So as you can see, it's downloading Kubernetes. So as you can see, it takes few seconds to start Minikube. So wait for few seconds. Now it's creating Docker container, and to create a Docker container, the space is required that 2 CPUs and memory. Okay. So that's why we need a more memory for installing ArgoCD because there is a we need to install Minikube, kubectl, then ArgoCD. So that's why we need a 20 GB or more. Now it's almost done. So it takes few seconds. Now it's booting up. it's done. So as you can see, done kubectl is now configured to use Minikube cluster and default namespace by default. That means now a Minikube successfully started. Okay, so let's clear the screen. Okay, now after that, if you want to check the status of a Minikube, then you can check the status also. And in the status, you can see is type control plane, host running, cube still running, API server running, cube config configured. That means we have successfully started our Minikube. Okay. Now, if you want to run kubectl command to verify the Kubernetes version and node state and cluster info, then if you want to check, then you can check from using following commands. Okay. Then kubectl get nodes. As you can see, Minikube ready, control plane, and the age is 59 seconds ago and version. Okay, it's done. Now, the next is here. Now, in case if you want to customize, you will use this add-on or additional functionality to Minikube cluster. Then below are the list of add-ons of Minikube add-ons list. Okay, so if you want to check, then you can run the command Minikube add-on list. Then there is a list. Okay, then after that, if you want to, then after that, Kubernetes to create a deployment name, my app, and that runs in the Nginx web server. Okay, so if you want to create, then you can create this kubectl create deployment my app image Nginx. Then if you want to check, then you can check here. Okay, as you can see, my app created. Then after that, Kubernetes to create a service that expose my app deployment to external traffic. So we need to expose this. Okay. Then after that, to retrieve information about the Kubernetes service and my app's SVC. Then as you can see, there's a node port and you can see the 10 seconds ago. If you want to check the service, then you can check also here, right? You can see. Okay, now it's done. Okay, now it's done. Now it's time to install ArgoCD. Okay, now it's time to install ArgoCD on Minikube. Okay, so now it's time to install ArgoCD using Minikube on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So we will create a namespace for ArgoCD. So I'm going to create a namespace for ArgoCD. That the namespace will be ArgoCD. So as you can see, namespace ArgoCD created. Okay. Then after that, ArgoCD can be installed using its manifest. So first you will need to download the manifest and apply them to your Minikube cluster. So I'm going to download this manifest using kubectl. So as you can see, it's downloading. Okay, it's done. Now let's clear the screen. Then after that, verify the installation by getting all the objects in the ArgoCD namespace. So let's clear. Now as you can see, now it's 000. Okay, so let's run again. Now as you can see, it's container creating. So it takes few seconds to start. So wait for few seconds. Now as you can see, some are running. You can see running. Then it's also creating. It's creating. Okay, it's 0. So wait for few seconds. First, we need to run all these, and after that, okay. Now as you can see, only one are not running. So wait for a few seconds. Now, as you can see, all are running. You can see ready 1 of 1, 1 of 1, 1 of 1, status running, and you can see available and up to date ready, then current ready, and so on, and age is 59 seconds ago. All are running. Okay. Now let's clear the screen first. Then after that, the next step is access ArgoCD UI on browser. After that, how to access? So by default, the ArgoCD server is not exposed outside the cluster. So you can expose it using port forwarding to access the ArgoCD UI. So how to port forwarding? So there is a command to forwarding the port. So you need to run this command, and the 0.0.0.0, that means any IP address can access. Okay, so let's forward this port here. And as forwarding port, okay, that means 0.0.0.0, that means any IP, then colon, and port number is 8080 for ArgoCD. So let's access. So first of all, you need to copy your instance IP, hit on browser, and colon, and the port number is 8080. Now click on add. For when you access ArgoCD UI in UI, so first we will have this page. You cannot, sorry, your connection is not private. So how to access ArgoCD UI in browser? So click on advanced and go to the proceed. Now as you can see, let's get stop deploy. So you need to username and password. So username is admin. And then what about password? So we need to find out password. So here is a command to get password. So get the initial password for the admin user to log in. So we need to run this command, but here there is a forwarding the port, right? So how to get password? So you need to open another connection here, and here I'm going to get my password. You cannot close this, okay, because when you stop this, then here we cannot access our ArgoCD in browser. So that's why, okay. Now as you can see, we have successfully logged into our ArgoCD. So after login, first of all, you need to update your password. Okay, so go to the settings. Then here let's check for account and user info. Okay, after user info, you need to update your password. Okay, so as of now, I'm going to skip this, but you need to update your password first. Okay, okay. Now we have successfully installed ArgoCD. Okay, so first of all, here you need to deploy the Here, you need to deploy an app. Okay. After installing ArgoCD, if you want to deploy an app on ArgoCD, then you can deploy. So how to deploy? So the next step is deploying an app on ArgoCD. Okay. So now we are in the user interface. So we can create a new app, and the source code for any application is in my GitHub repository. Okay. So first of all, here after logging, if you want to create a new app, if you want to deploying an app, so how to deploy? So click on this new app, and first of all you need to enter the application name. Okay, so here as you can see here, I'm going to, my application name will be guest book. Okay, then project name, keep default. Okay, set as default. Then sync policy manual. Then here in source you need to enter repository URL. Okay, so here I'm going to use this repository URL. I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to enter this, because this is the ArgoCD repo, as you can see, right? So I'm going to use this, and after that here in path, I'm going to use guest book. Okay, as you can see a guest book, right? So that's why here in path, I'm going to set the path guest book. Okay. Then after that, cluster URL. Here Kubernetes default.svc, and the namespace will be default. Okay. So check for once. Application name will be guestbook, project name default, sync policy manual, and the source in source repository URL, then revision head path guestbook in destination kubernetes.default.svc, and namespace default. Now click on create. So as you can see, it's created. Okay. Now the status is missing and it's out of sync. So we need to sync this. So click on sync and click on synchronize. So wait for a few seconds. Now the app health is progressing. Okay. So wait a second. Now it's in progressing. So we need to wait for few seconds. Okay, now as you can see, now app health is healthy. Okay, it's succeed. So how to check? So here, let's run the command kubectl get pods. And as you can see, the get pods is, you can see guest book UI ready 1 of 1 running status running, and the age is 41 seconds ago. That means we have successfully deployed our ArgoCD app, right? We have successfully deployed our ArgoCD app here. Okay. So if you want to check the details of our app, then you can check the details of our app here. Status is healthy, right? And so on. Okay. So you can check from here. So sync is okay. Okay. It's done. So in this session, we have learned how to install ArgoCD on Minikube with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So in this session, first of all, we have installed Minikube, then we have installed Docker, then KVM, right? Then virtual machines, okay. And then we have installed kubectl, then we have installed ArgoCD. And after that, we have successfully deployed our app on ArgoCD, right? So in this session, we have learned how to install ArgoCD on Minikube. So thank you for watching, and I hope you understand.